Bro. And welcome everybody to another episode of Plug Talk Sports. I am once again joined by Jonka Canes Don't Stop and myself, Grant Hernandez. We don't have our usual host, Danny, here with us. He's a little bit in traffic right now, South Florida. You know how it usually is at night, and especially with daylight savings time. I mean, I got a little bit more sleep. I'm a little more energized for this episode. Feels like 9 o'clock because it should be 9 o'clock, but we are ready to go here. Tradition, Jonka. What's the best from your past week? In the good plug.
You know what? I'm gonna have to say it. I was waiting for this all year, all off season, but I can finally say, Mario Cristobal was able to win and beat Manny Diaz Saturday night or Saturday evening, and that's it. All the conspiracy theorists and all the hypotheticals are out the window. Now we can just move on with the season. Yeah, 9-0. We're gonna talk about it later, but we're 9-0. That's all I can think about. I'm thankful just for the W. Now the defense played, but whatever. It's a W.
Hey, and again, like honestly, that entire first half, I know we're gonna talk about it later, but Manny Diaz ruining the Canes' chances for a playoff, and he's not even the head coach this time. So a little bit weird to see that. But for me, the best thing from this week, college basketball is officially back. Now, this is something that I've been waiting a long time for. Of course, I used to be, a beat writer covering a college basketball, especially the SEC with the Florida Gators. So that's actually going to push me into the bad of this week. This will be the first time in the last 2 to 3 years where I won't be covering college basketball as a writer. So a little bit bittersweet. But now I'm able to watch it more as a fan for the Florida Gators. And then, of course, the Hurricanes basketball team. I mean, this is going to be a really exciting season, especially with the ACC. I mean, I saw Cooper Flagg earlier at Duke. Guy's electric.
I got also, you're talking about college basketball. Shout out to Miami. They started off the season great, 1-0, 113-72 win over Fair Dickinson.
Mm-hmm.
That's how you started off. Little by little, we have a bunch of rookies. My bad. Freshmen. So it's going to be a lot of chemistry working out, see who fits and who doesn't. So it's going to be an experimental year with this team, but they are still good. So I'm gonna see what they do this year. Larinaga has his team hopefully ready to go for March because that's what I'm waiting for. That's all I'm waiting for.
Hey, we don't sleep till March. Shoot, if anything, we might not even sleep till May. I mean, that's basically what we say for college basketball. Jonka, bad plug from this past week.
I think you can already know, bro.
Mm.
It's. I mean, I predicted it, but I just didn't see it being such a steep fall. But unfortunately, as I said months and months on this show, that no matter what happens with the Yankees, win or lose in the World Series, if they even made it, that Aaron Boone needs to go. That he does not have this team in the right mindset. There's no organization. There's no, how do you say, like, I don't know how do you explain this?
No structure.
There's no structure. There's nothing. He just like every game he has to change the lineup. There's no consistency. Everybody's willy-nilly. The defense is playing absolutely terrible. They're making Aaron Judge try to be the Jesus Christ of this damn team, like having to be the savior, bro. Like this guy, like if he doesn't hit a home run, the whole team is like in hell, basically.
Yeah.
So
yeah, but Jonka, I'm gonna stop you right there because again, that's a good tease for later on the show, and for all the viewers out
I
there,
know, I know.
you came to a good one now. World Series talk. We're talking college football, NFL, and more. And speaking of which, why not start with the NFL? The NFL Week 9 currently finishing up right now between the Kansas City Chiefs and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers as they are going through that one, and that one is, I believe, in the third.
Yes, with
I'm
7
showing.
minutes left,
Mhm.
14-10, and it's first and 25 for the Bucks.
There we go. So live broadcasting right there. But let's go to the past a little bit. I want to go jump into Thursday. The Jets, the New York Jets, and a very frustrating Jets team. A lot of expectations for what reasons? I can't really tell you why. But they end up getting their third win of the year against really an underdog Thursday primetime game from Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams, trying to make some connections, but they ended up winning it 21-13 over Houston. A sluggish game overall for CJ Stroud, but probably the best game out of Garrett Wilson, the wide receiver for New York. I mean, I don't know if you saw that catch, Jonka. The touchdown grab, Air Jordan, even though Adidas sponsored, yes, but Air Jordan, Garrett Wilson for a touchdown grab on that one. I was curious, Jonka, quickly of your thoughts about that game.
I didn't get to see the game on Halloween, but I did see the catch. I'm still kind of I'm still questioning the NFL on their catch rules because I still think the catch against the Dolphins was a catch in the end zone. You say
It was.
no, but I mean, based on with all the other evidence with the catch for George Pickens and various other catches during the season so far, if your foot's in or both your feet are in, why isn't it a touchdown?
No, yeah. Honestly, I thought that one was going to get overturned because they had a one that was, I believe, earlier where they said a player dropped the ball or something like that, and they didn't call that in for a touchdown. I think that was for Houston in that same game, if I'm not mistaken. But either way, though, Garrett Wilson able to make an insane grab. And again, this has been something that is become a annual thing at this point. Every single season, Wilson's going to have himself a highlight. But
Yeah.
speaking of highlights, Aaron Rodgers probably his best game as a Jet, winning it 21-13 on Thursday, Amazon Prime Time. And then the Sunday slate of games, holy, I mean, it was a lot of drama, different action. But Jonka, looking before we even talk game by game, tell me a game that you think was, wow, this was the prime game to watch that Sunday.
The prime game to watch.
Yeah, because I got a few on my mind, but
I have. I would have to say three games.
okay,
One being the Dolphins and I forgot
the Bills.
the Bills. My bad. Yeah, sorry about
Can't
that.
forget that.
Dolphins, Bills, my Patriots, and the Titans that went into overtime.
Yeah, and again, I mean, you've been talking a lot about Drake May. It's getting closer and closer to the. I mean, this is really the future of the franchise for New England.
I've been hearing a lot of praise from like no, not hearing but like seeing a lot of quotes from different players in the NFL that played against him
Mhm.
already, and they're giving him say, "Hey, this kid is actually pretty freaking good."
Yeah.
So that makes me feel good. At three, it would have to be the Eagles and the I always forget, bro. The
Oh, you're
Eagles.
talking about the Eagles against Jacksonville?
Yes, that
Yeah.
one.
And that one, again, insanity because we just talked about Wilson. But the Saquon Barkley, for those who don't know, Saquon on a catch and grab runs, juke, spin move, hurdles a guy backward.
Backwards, yeah, bro.
I mean, that's just unheard of in my honest opinion. But again, that's where this league is. It's everyone's athletic, man. Anyone could do anything.
It, I don't even know, bro. If that play isn't number one for the season, if that's not the best play of the season, I don't know what is, bro. That
Yeah,
has to be one of the top plays ever.
easily,
Like,
easily.
where would you rank that play, bro? Like, seriously.
Like I would, I too hard to do all time on the spot. But for this season, top three, and it's
Top
right next to
three.
yes, top three, and it's probably number one.
Okay.
But
Okay.
it's right next to Garrett Wilson's catch. I kid you not. But again, I want to kind of stick here because you said one of those three is the Miami Dolphins. Again, being a South Florida blog, we are the Miami Dolphins losing that went 30-27 on the road, and this is a game where as crazy as it may sound, this was not a game where the Dolphins were kind of playing catch up the entire way. This was a neck and neck battle. I mean, back and forth in the fourth quarter we go. I mean, it went all the way down to a 61-yard field goal kick by the Buffalo kicker Bass to win it 30-27. But I'm also really interested in the stats. Most importantly, though, I mean, the biggest story of the Dolphins season, Tua Tagovailoa coming back from concussion, the same team that concussed him in week 2, the Buffalo Bills. He ends up going on the road and does this, and again, in a loss, but 25 and 28 in completion attempts, 231 yards and 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. Honestly, it wasn't really an issue of offense for the Dolphins. And since Tua's return from the Arizona Cardinals game, it hasn't been an issue with the offense. I mean, both games, actually, believe it or not, 27 points, identical. And identical as it is, losing by a game-winning field goal. So it's been a weird case for the Dolphins. Again, 2-6 right now is their current record. We're talking about games where losses can include the Tennessee Titans at home, primetime Monday night, losses against other teams where you just, in reality, scratch your head. I mean, I mentioned Arizona as one of them. Then they also had one with the Buffalo Bills where they got blown out. Seattle where they got blown out. So, and again, that's just a few of them. But for the Dolphins, a lot of fight on Sunday against Buffalo. And the Bills 7-2. Jonka, I mean, you're a Pats fan. I'm a Dolphins fan. Everyone talks about playoffs when it comes down to, and especially before the start of the season, the division being up for grabs, hypothetically. Now the Dolphins with an 11.6% chance to make the postseason, according to ESPN. Do you think the Dolphins could make that stretch? Because again, this is a franchise we've seen in the past, 1-7 and then 9-8 under the Flores. You think Mike McDaniel is one of the most winningest head coaches in at least the past decade for Miami? You think he's still got it for this year?
It's gonna be tough, bro, because I know they play Monday night this week.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the way the Rams looked this past weekend, man. Shout out to Cam Kitchens with 2 interceptions, bro.
Oh yeah,
But yeah, bro, for the U, they're looking really good right now. Cooper Cup is back. I mean, Puka Nakua might come back next week, maybe not. I don't know, but everybody's stepping up now. Matthew Stafford looks in prime shape. Hey, I'm letting you know. I mean, then after that game, you got 2 weeks. You play the Raiders and you play me. I expect us to lose, because we suck.
Yeah, being the Patriots, and this will be at Hard Rock.
Yep. I might go to that game. So
there we go.
Then this is the gauntlet, bro. This is where I find it difficult to see the Dolphins even making the playoffs. They play the Packers at Packers. Then they play the Jets at home. They play the Texans. I mean, they haven't been that bad, but they're still tough to beat. They have a really good defense. The 49ers, with CMC probably back. He's already announced that he's in practice.
Yeah.
The Cleveland Browns with Jameis Winston, who they honestly have not looked that bad. And then the Jets at the Jets. It's going to be tough, bro.
It is going to be tough. Because the way that this season started, I'm thinking to myself, like, well, they got the roster for it. But the injuries, I just felt like, I mean, it's taken over this team. I mean, excluding Tua, right? We're talking about a really weak wide receiver room. We're talking about the pass rushers where you have Chop Robinson as a rookie. And again, fantastic talent. But he's been ushered in on that edge where, Bradley Chubb is gone. Then Jalen Phillips, he gets himself injured against Tennessee early in the year. And that's out for the entire season. So for the Dolphins to make this comeback, it's going to rely on health and also for more involvement for a lot of their playmakers. Like Waddle, I think Waddle has been one of the best receivers for the Dolphins group. A different story for Tyreek Hill. Tyreek Hill voted the number 1 player in the NFL this season by his peers from his talents of last year. This year, not doing so much. I mean, give you an example off the bat. Sunday, he ends up having
what is it? Three catches?
Actually, 4 catches, 80 receiving yards, which is actually the highest amount for the Miami Dolphins receiver. So he leads the team receiving that day. But previous of that, a usual 20-something, 30-something. And again, there's, of course, Huntley and different quarterbacks in the middle of that. But it's going to be a long road for Hill to get to those type of Pro Bowl numbers, and as well for the Dolphins to get back into a win column where it's a postseason win column. But let's go into the other games around the entire Sunday slate, and this will be kind of a speed run here. Jonka, let me know when to stop here if you have a big thing to talk about. But going off top, and this would be one that Danny would be definitely talking about, Falcons against the Cowboys. And one of the biggest stories about that one, Dak Prescott getting injured, most likely. Who knows when he returns, but we do know it won't be anytime soon for next week. And Falcons ended up winning that one 27-21. The Baltimore Ravens looking like real contenders on Sunday against the Denver Broncos.
And also for the Cowboys,
Mhm.
apparently CD Lamb has been dealing with a shoulder injury, so they don't know if he's going to play next week.
Yeah,
It's the Eagles.
another big name right there. And again, a division rival game coming
Can't
up
lose
soon.
that game.
Can't lose that game at all. But as we go forward, again, Baltimore showing the reason why Lamar Jackson and that offense is the reason that the NFL has them on big time games, winning at 41-10 over Denver.
The guy's been balling for me on fantasy, bro.
Yeah, my fantasy league, a little flimsy right now. But going forward, this is actually one I was watching at Flanagan's, as you know, one does on Sunday. It's South Florida.
Yep.
I couldn't believe the graphics they were showing me. 5 touchdown passes for Joe Burrow and the Cincinnati Bengals, winning it 41-24 at home over the Las Vegas Raiders. And the Raiders just fired their offensive coordinator, I believe, not too long ago, if not today, if not that Sunday. But that was a big loss for them, both on staff and on the field. But as we move forward, though, and Jameis Winston off to a hot start, kind of cooled down a little bit, lost at home 27-10 against the Chargers.
Yeah.
Washington, the Commanders, and this has been a team that's been shocking a lot of people. 7-2 for the first time since the 1990s, I think. 27-22 over the Giants, Tennessee, and New England. John Cook, we talked about it already. I'm not going to ask you because, again, it happened. If you want to talk a little bit more about it, you can talk a little more about it.
I mean, it's okay, bro. Like it was a good game, bro. Like Drake May throws the touchdown pass to end the regular. How do you say the regular time, basically regulation time? Yeah.
Yeah.
And then 17-17, they head to overtime. I mean, it's tough. They hold the team to 3 points. There we go. You have an opportunity to win the game, but it's just like Drake May doesn't have any weapons, bro.
Yeah.
Like I really do believe that out of all the teams in the NFL, I think the one team that has literally have zero weapons is the New England Patriots. And unfortunately, I have to deal with that. And Drake May has to I think he was responsible for 310 yards out of the 346 yesterday. So like you can't make your quarterback do that much work, bro. Like you can't.
No, not especially a rookie quarterback, which is, I mean, it's a lot to ask for. And it's been a good rookie class so far. But again, Tennessee getting only their second win of the year over New England. And then going on further, my usual MVP candidate, Kyler Murray and the Arizona Cardinals on a 3-game winning streak, if I'm not mistaken, 5-4 and top of the NFC West with a 29-9 victory over the Chicago Bears. Philadelphia, as mentioned previously, beating out Jacksonville 28-23. The Green Bay Packers hosting Detroit in a rival game. It's a little bit of a different story now. The Lions, the most dominant team in the NFC right now, winning it 24-14 over their rival Green Bay. And
I think they're the most dominant team in the league.
I
don't see a team beating them, bro. They're like, I feel like they're the one team that hasn't been caught with that injury bug, bro.
Yeah, it really is true, and especially the running back duo of Gibbs and
unstoppable. It's so tough with Amon-Ra, and then you got Laporta, and then you got I think Raymond, bro. Like they're stacked, bro. You give these guys another draft pick, I swear to God, I might cut it off.
Yeah, but again, Detroit's still trying to find themselves in their first ever Super Bowl, let alone Super Bowl win. They're on a good track right now. And going on down to the last few games from that Sunday slate, Rams beating out the Seahawks in insane fashion, overtime victory, 26-20 on the road. And this was a weird Sunday night football game. Sam Darnold against Joe Flacco. Somehow it was enough for me to pay attention to the game the entire way out. 21-13, Minnesota winning it in Minnesota. I mean, let me tell you that NFC North, it's a really good division. Minnesota right now 6-2. And as mentioned previously, Kansas City and Tampa going back and forth late in the third. It shows here 17-10. Tampa still on top. But that is all the NFL games we got. Now we're going to switch our action, sticking on football here, but now going to the collegiate level. Jacob, I'm going to go through the top 25. You're going to hear some names that shouldn't belong there.
Don't worry.
So I'm telling you. But let's go through it. Starting off with the ACC at number 25, Louisville with a 6-3 record. They recently just beat Clemson, who was previously number 11. Vanderbilt 6-3 and bowl eligible for the first time since 2018. Pittsburgh dropping down 5 spots at number 23. Kansas State dropping 5 spots as well, down to number 22 at a 7-2 record out of the Big 12. And speaking of which, in the Big 12, Colorado up 2 spots. Deion Sanders and Colorado bowl eligible at number 21 in the nation. Washington State, one of the 2 Pac-12 teams, up 2 spots at number 20. Clemson dropping 8 spots after getting blown out at home against the Louisville Cardinals. Clemson at number 19. Army undefeated, number 18. Gotta love the military. Have to love the military, right?
With the troops.
Support the support the troops. All-time fashion. But then Iowa State at 17. Ole Miss, they move up 3 spots at 7-2 at number 16 in the nation. Number 15, Texas A&M takes a dive 5 spots down to number 15. LSU, number 14. SMU out of Dallas jumps 7 spots.
Yep.
And it's a big matchup potentially for the ACC championship game, hypothetically against the Canes. They're at number 13. Boise State and Gentry, he's still on pace right now to catch Barry Sanders' all-time rushing record. Who knows what happens, but they're 7-1 and 12th in the nation out of the Mountain West. Alabama slowly climbing back after a few struggling games at number 11, and now the top 10, Jonka. Hear this. Notre Dame, number 10. BYU, undefeated, number 9. Indiana, undefeated and moving 5 spots up at number 8. Tennessee, 7. Penn State drops 3 spots to 6 after the loss to Ohio State at home. Texas at 5. The Miami Hurricanes. The Hurricanes have top 4 team in the nation. Who knew we would talk about that this year? But yes, the Hurricanes undefeated at 9-0. Ohio State 7-1 at number 3. Georgia 7-1. And Oregon all alone at the top. And they've been like that for the past few weeks at 9-0. Jonka, the Hurricanes, we talked about it. Open up this show. Beating out Manny Diaz, beating out Duke. It wasn't really just a beat down throughout the game. Tell us a little about that.
Yeah, I didn't get to watch like the third, the 3/4 of the game technically because I was at work, but I was just on my phone. You knew, bro, if I'm at the game or if not at the home watching the game, I'm definitely on my phone watching the score updates. And I'm just watching my Canes take a 14-0 lead, and then there he goes. And the suspect defense. I mean, not really. I mean, yes, we're suspect, but it's just we have a lot of injuries on our secondary, especially the veterans. And now we're like, I think we're down to like 6 or 7 DBs left, bro. It's like it's ridiculous. It's whatever, but they go and tie it, and then we go up 17-14. They make it 21-17, then 28-17, and I'm like, don't, bro. No,
Yeah.
bro.
And let me tell you, though, I mean, that first scoring drive they had, it was like 4 plays. I was watching the entire game. Man, they were efficient.
What I think the problem is, bro, I really do think the problem is that this freshman, all of these freshman DBs that are playing right now are having to do too much, and the team, the defensive line knows it, so they have to like kind of like they can't pressure too much because they know they gotta have some guys in the back just in case. And so there's no pressure in the QB, and then the DBs aren't really doing their job, and they're missing assignments and missed tackles. The missed tackles thing, that's all coaching, bro. I
Yeah,
gotta put that on Lance Guidry. I don't know what he's doing this year, but it's inexcusable. This whole season on defense has been inexcusable. Miami being known for at least a somewhat decent defense, this looks atrocious. Now, I don't want to give the whole blame to him because it is such a young defense, and we're not really deep in cornerbacks right now. So I'm that's why I'm not gonna give him the majority of the blame. But shout out to Restrepo and to Cam Ward and
yeah,
this offense because as of right now, I think the Kings are leading in total offense, total offensive yards, I think touchdowns. It's the basically the offense is what is keeping this team alive at this point. I mean, the defense has stepped up. Oh wait, update.
okay.
Um, Patrick Mahomes is being, I guess, carried off the field, and Carson Wentz is heating up.
Ooh,
What?
the return of the king, the turn of the 2017 king, Carson Wentz.
Oh boy.
A little NFL update. We like that, man. But
Okay.
so
So yeah,
Carson
going back
Wentz
to the
action
game.
going on.
Yeah, like the defense has stepped up when it's needed to. Like we've seen in the second half, the Kings have been a more second half defense and team the majority in the first half. Like we've seen them get into slow starts. Everybody's like, "Yo, what are we doing? What are we doing?" You know, it's like why aren't we scoring more? Why aren't we defending better? Like all they're doing is running the ball, and yet we're not stopping the run.
Yeah,
It's whatever. Let them deal with it. All I know is that this year only, we have Cam Ward, we have Restrepo, we got all these weapons. I think we've scored 50 points for like the fifth time this season.
yeah,
That's like the first time ever for us. At this point, yes, let the defense get better as they go on and get more experience. The offense is gonna do its thing. We already know like you to stop our offense for 4 quarters is really tough. So I know we'll score points. Now, can our defense step up like in at least like the first two quarters at least and give us a decent lead where we don't have to sweat it out and have cardiac arrest midway through the third.
yeah. I mean, because like, how many teams have we, for the Hurricanes at least, how many teams have they blown out this year besides, Florida State, Ball State,
Florida.
FAMU? Yep, Florida. Don't remind me, but okay. But yeah, I mean, and also this game itself, technically being down as they were, this is the third game that the Hurricanes were down and made a comeback
Yep.
at halftime. So this is the third game of this season. Again, 9-0. And also, as you said before, shout out Restrepo, the South Florida native, 146 yards, an average of 18 yards per catch. And this is now the number one, alone up there in the record books of receiving yards for the Miami Hurricanes program. And a lot of games left still.
Yep.
And
3.
I mean, I'm telling you, though, it's really insane, though, the stats we've been seeing. Cam Ward, compared to other Heisman quarterbacks in the past, such as like a Jalen Hurts or a Tua, has more passing yards and more touchdown passes by a lot. And now Restrepo, and again, we're talking about a program that has Andre Johnson, Michael Irvin, and the list could go on and on about those special guys at receiver for UM and their program. Restrepo and a lot of these guys are way ahead of that. Jonka, this might be one of the best teams we've seen in our lifetime for the Hurricanes. Again, knock on wood if you're with me. But there we go. But I'm telling you right now, the Hurricanes beating out Manny Diaz 53-31, and they're not done yet at all.
Wait, what was I going to say? Okay, yeah. I have a problem with this. Since we're talking about college football,
Okay.
somebody pointed this out to me. No hate to the person I'm about to say. Like, I think he's a great player and everything,
Mm-hmm.
but I think there's a little bit of Miami disrespect going on in I would have to say the Heisman voting or the Heisman
Like
rankings or whatever.
polls, yeah.
Yeah, how Cam Ward isn't number one makes no sense to me. He's leading in touchdowns. He's like right behind, I think, some random dude in some college from like, I think, like 50, 60 yards. And then that's not the point I'm hating. Like Cam Ward said he doesn't really care if he wins the Heisman or not. He just wants to win football games and make the national championship. So
Yep.
that's whatever. The only problem I have, Brandon, is Travis Hunter. No disrespect to him.
Yep.
He's a great player, right? I'm gonna give you his stats, all right? And you tell me what you find funny. All right,
Yeah.
Travis Hunter, right here.
I know where this is going. I got you. I'm with you.
60 receptions, 757 yards, 8 touchdowns. All right? Keep that in mind. All right. Now let's go to my boy over here. All right. Here we go. Xavier Restrepo, 51 receptions, so 9 less, 856 yards, so basically 100 more, and 1 more touchdown with a higher average. I guess, yeah, higher average for yards.
Yep.
Why isn't being mentioned in the Heisman? Why?
Yeah. And
And
I
I
know.
checked. Oh wait, and then somebody on Twitter added me and said, "Oh, because he's also a cornerback and he does more and he does some on defense." The buddy only has 2 interceptions.
Yeah.
Let's stop let's stop the BS, bro. Like,
Yeah. And
seriously.
again, great player. I mean, athletic player, one of the best like overall skill players. But that doesn't mean Heisman automatically, though. And I know what you mean, though, because I mean, for Travis Hunter, I remember he did his own, why should I be picked Heisman? And he basically said, well, I'm doing both things on the field. I'm telling you right now, it's Ward or Gentry. I mean, that's about it to me personally.
Apparently, Dylan Gabriel is like already getting up. Like, he's like up there already.
No, I mean, of course, as he should. Quarterback number 1 of the nation, team Oregon. But I just think overall influence, though, Cam Ward's influence, undeniable with the Hurricanes right now. But without Gentry, who knows where Boise State would be right now?
I agree. I think
Yeah.
I think it's either Gene T or Genty, whatever you want to call him,
Mm-hmm.
or Cam Ward and Dylan Gabriel. Those are the 3 locks. Anybody else should not even be mentioned, bro. Like, there's no way. I just find like that's what I'm gonna go back to what I was saying. Like, how is it that Miami is undefeated? No, I don't care what anybody tells me about the schedule. They're just playing whatever schedule they were given. They win. They're 9-0. Cam Ward is the Heisman.
Yep.
Restrepo has 100 more yards, more touchdowns, and with less receptions than Travis Hunter. Yet Travis Hunter is somehow 4th or 5th, depending on what poll you look at, in the Heisman. Make that make sense to me.
I don't know. Honestly, I think me personally, I would expect Cam to be number 1 in a lot of polls. But to keep on going on the college football thing, Jonka, I got 2 hot takes for this AP poll for this week.
Same. I was going to tell you, I don't believe Georgia should be at 2.
And I was going to get straight to that. For those who do not know or live under a rock, the biggest cocktail tailgate of the year happened at Florida, Georgia, and Jacksonville. And a big surprise happened as well. The Gators actually had a 13-6 lead at halftime over the Georgia Bulldogs. And this was, I mean, again, as John said, crazy. 3 interceptions in like the first half. I know Beck, I get it. The guy, NFL talent, obviously one of the best teams, and he's not an NFL quarterback. I'm sorry to tell you.
I didn't have a feeling.
Yeah. And for the Gators to have 3 interceptions off him, and these are all very young DBs. I mean, sophomores, freshmen out there, and a room that is very much injured. The Gators, it's almost a hospital at this point. Graham Mertzler, quarterback, done for the year. Marshall, their corner, basically the biggest guy, bound to be in the NFL, gone for the year, and a bunch of other names gone for the year. And alone in this game, I mean, what is it? I felt like it was more than 5-10 Gators getting hurt in this game. One of the biggest names, though, as we have to mention, the starting quarterback going to this game, DJ Lagway, true freshman, 239 pounds, true freshman out of Texas, the former Gatorade Player of the Year, had a 43-yard bomb thrown to take over the lead against Georgia early in that game. And right before the half, he suffers a hamstring injury. And this is one which I can do an update from Billy Napier, who's talked to media earlier today. It's not as significant as we expected it. So there could be a return this season. And he's not questioned out for Texas, which again, the Gators going to Texas, and that's against number 5 Texas, the Longhorns on the road. So don't expect a win. But either way, though, even despite having a third string quarterback going through the entire second half, multiple injuries on the defensive side as well, on both ends, Georgia, and again, won by 2 touchdowns, but I felt like they escaped at the end. They took the lead, and frankly, there couldn't be any more offensive power from the Gators. John Cook, I mean, we both talked about it. This is a big shock to me. I thought Ohio State was bound for the number 2 spot, but the committee was really nice on Georgia's part.
Listen, whenever it's an SEC team, bro, they're always nice to them. Like, there's no really respect for any other conference besides the SEC. And it's just ridiculous how there's, I think, multiple undefeated teams so far, and then only, I think, yeah, only 2 of them, as of Oregon and Miami, are in the top 4, and then all the other ones are still somehow in the bottom 10, and it makes no sense to me. I mean, Georgia beat Florida. They scored less points than Miami did. They they allowed more points than Miami did. And yet somehow, some way, if we're gonna add 1 + 1 = 2, somehow Miami isn't 2. Ohio State did lose to Oregon, so I understand, but they just beat Penn State, so I'm okay with that. And then 4, Miami's at 4. I would have moved Miami to 3. Georgia to, yeah. Ohio State, no, actually, my bad. Oregon 1, Ohio State 2, Miami 3, Georgia 4.
Mm,
I think that would have been a little bit a better list than giving Georgia 2 after losing to Alabama, who
yeah.
lost to Vanderbilt, who lost to Georgia State. And then
I mean, but
and then
that
I'm
doesn't
gonna
mean
and then
Georgia State's not really better than them, though.
and then
That's not.
I'm gonna segue, and we're gonna also call it BS. Louisville beating Clemson. I was watching that game. That makes Miami look even better.
It does. It
Like,
does.
they went into Louisville and beat Louisville in a shootout. Louisville went into Death Valley at night, who they haven't lost in I don't know how many years. It's like some crazy amount of years, and upset them, and they beat their ass. Excuse my language, but they beat their ass.
Yeah, it's the honest truth. And I gotta tell you though, I was watching that game too. I mean, it looked like their season was over the way the crowd was reacting to that loss.
They were
I mean,
walking
it
out
was.
like top of the 4th, bro. It was like, why are they leaving, bro? Like, Clemson still has
Mhm.
firepower. Like,
Yeah,
no shot to Clay Klubnik, but he's been playing pretty well this year. Besides, from how he played last year, it's been getting really better for them. Like, that's the only I could say. But Clemson losing that game really hurt their chances for the ACC championship, because SMU still hasn't lost an ACC game because they lost to BYU, who is ranked. So, and it was only by 3.
yeah.
So,
No, absolutely. But I mean, speaking of which, this is my second hot take though. The ACC real close right now, and one of the biggest ACC games the other night, and this was very much one-sided, but Pitt against
mm,
SMU. Pitt all the way down to 23. There was a game, primetime 7:30 on ABC, Texas A&M against South Carolina. South Carolina blows out a top 10 team, and they're not even ranked.
bro, I told you when South. Well, I don't know if I told you. I think I told Daniel when they played Alabama. I had South Carolina beating Alabama, and that game went into overtime or just before overtime, bro. And I was so close, bro. I'm telling you, there is a correction happening in college football because of the transfer portal, and because of the NIL. All the talent was once acquired by all these top teams, you already know who they are, have now been spread around all these other teams and all around all these other conferences, and now the talent level across, it's now evening out. So now
Yeah.
you're seeing more upsets happening, and it's not like how it was a couple years ago, where Alabama, Georgia, Ohio State, Michigan, Clemson was just basically getting all the best recruits because there was no transfer portal, no NIL. They got the best recruits, and they were basically mollywhopping every person that was on their schedule, and then it was only them five fighting to see who was going to be left out. Am I right? Am I wrong?
Hey, I mean, you're right. So, but again, a lot of changes there, but let's change the different sport categories here. Let's go to baseball. Oh,
Oh wait, before you go to
one more?
baseball,
Yep.
Miami Heat lose to I guess I would say a buzzer beater to the Sacramento Kings.
Wow.
111, 110.
Again, not too bad of a Heat season to open up, but what are they now? 3-3. So
3-2, I think. It says here 3-2, but maybe 3-3. I don't know. It hasn't
yeah,
updated.
yeah. But either way, though, tough loss at home there for the Miami Heat as they're opening up the season. But we're gonna talk basketball soon, I promise. How about after baseball? Baseball, the World Series. We were unable to be on air last time when this series was going on, but Jonka, your Yankees
Yeah.
unable to make a real competitive series out of this one. I hate to put it as it is, but
Okay.
we're down 3-0 early, and then game 4 happens. Like, oh my gosh, they open up the bats. Look at that. And game 5 went the other way. Jonka, if you want to talk a little bit about this, about your Yankees, this World Series, and what this means.
Man, I mean before the series even started, I told Daniel that I have really low faith in this team because of Aaron Boone, the way he has his team run and structured, organized, whatever vocabulary you want to use to describe this team. Dysfunctional. Uh, you know, he inconsistently put lineups that made no sense. He kept changing them every single game. You know, it's Juan Soto did his thing. Giancarlo Stanton actually came up clutch in a lot of situations. Aaron Judge, like, even though he was in a slump, like I didn't see anybody like kind of like motivating him or like, hey yo, buddy, don't worry, bro, we got you. There was no camaraderie. There was no team. Like it didn't feel like the Yankees were a team. It just felt like it was just a combination of just players thrown on in there and then just okay, go see what you can do for me. Like since I'm your manager, just win me games.
Yeah.
Like every single game in the regular season was like a sideshow, bro. Aaron Boone was getting thrown out because he was arguing with the umpire because of a strike. Like, buddy, just shut up, let the game go on, and like, why do you have to create a sideshow, bro? This isn't. It's it's whatever. But game one, I put that all on Aaron Boone. There should have been no reason that you put in Nestor Cortez, who had not pitched in months,
Yeah.
and then you put him in to face a basically bases loaded, and in two pitches he throws a grand slam in the World Series. You cannot put him in that situation, bro. You can't. You have to put your best possible pitcher forward, or just leave in the pitcher that you had before because it was not gonna happen, bro. I would have even just thrown in Garrett Cole. I don't even care, bro.
Yeah, and not even that. Garrett Cole, especially that game one you're talking about, I'm looking at it here, pitched through 6 innings. 6 innings and four strike. He struck 4 batters out. That's the only Yankee that game to even have a batter struck out against him. So he had 4 of all 4. I mean, this was from bullpen and beyond for the Yankees. I mean, it was very much one-sided though. And again, I don't want to say that this was a Dodgers controlled series, but you look at the series against New York Mets and the Mets series, it was very much the same story of, man, there's no real close games, there's no close competitions going on. And this was the exact same way. They just, again, Freddie Freeman as well went through 4, I believe 3 to 4 games of this World Series, having a home run
Yeah.
per game basically on average. I mean, this was not the best pitching performance in the series for the Yankees. But Jonka, I'm thinking for the Dodgers standpoint, because again, Daniel, obviously a Dodger fan, unapologetically a Dodger fan, as we know. But this is a World Series that, really for the first time, and their fan base was able to view it. Their last one was in 2020, of course, being that COVID year, 60 game wins. This is, I want to say, the one that really means a lot. I would have to say for the Dodgers, and including Shohei Ohtani.
Yeah.
But I think the funniest thing about this, even though a lot of people talk about Ohtani, a lot of people say that, oh, well, he's one of the best players in baseball. I feel like he got carried throughout this World Series.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not gonna say he got carried, but he didn't have a good series. Neither did Aaron Judge. So,
Mhm.
but the thing is, what ended up, like I said, the team was able to help. Like I say, hey, buddy, you're like I was saying before when we started the topic. Okay, buddy, you're having a slump. That's okay. We'll help you. We'll guide you through it, bro. Everybody stepped up. Everyone stepped up for the Dodgers,
Yeah.
even though Otani was not having a good series.
Yeah, even Will Smith, which is like the most
Everyone, man.
random person you can probably imagine.
Uh, damn it, touchdown, uh, Chiefs.
Uh, well, who would have thought?
Yeah,
So.
and of course the second one to DeAndre Hopkins.
Ugh.
So, and then I listen. I know I'm disappointed in my team. Like it's my team. I gotta root for them and deal with the losses like they do. But me personally, I would like to see Aaron Boone gone. I've been saying this for months. To me, he doesn't even know. I don't think he knows what he's doing. I mean, we had Jazz Chisholm, we got Verdugo. I mean, but I think it's time for a lot of all the other players, the roster guys, to I guess like see what you can find in the offseason.
Mm-hmm.
Number one, re-sign Soto. That's number one, like top top of the list. Re- get some guys that can give you hits consistently, and not just a bunch of no name guys. Like I feel like the Yankees are the best when I mean their farm system is not bad, but it's not one of the best. I think they're the best when they claim guys off of other teams and they come in and they produce. I would like to see some pitchers come in. I would like to see maybe Vladimir Guerrero, maybe Pete Alonso, but that would be crazy from the Mets from to the Yankees. That
Yeah,
would be some drama.
it'll be a stretch too. And again, this is a free agency that's like everyone is a name.
Exactly.
Everyone's.
Corbin Burns is available from the Orioles.
Mhm.
This offseason is going to be interesting. And I think the day after the World Series, former Marlin George Soler is headed to the Los Angeles Angels.
Yeah. So
And I'm like, bro, it hasn't even been 24 hours yet. What is going on?
it's too many movements, too soon for movements. As the Dodgers again, not even waiting as well. The league not even waiting after their World Series win. But speaking of transactions, though, let's go and look to a few rumors. This time in the NBA, though, Milwaukee Bucks superstar Giannis Antetokounmpo rumored to be in the trade market. Yes, the Bucks, who have only won a game so far this season, have been struggling under the Darvin Ham and Doc Rivers coaching combo. Now they're saying that he might want out. So Giannis, according to reports, and these are multiple reports throughout different platforms such as FanDuel and Yahoo, talking about Miami and Brooklyn being potential spots, and it's very possible. New York was not mentioned in there. He said that Brooklyn out of any of the ones that are in that tri-state area. And again, these are going to be different locations as we get more reports about this. And all rumors, of course, is speculation. If my honest take about this is the sign of the end for Milwaukee. I mean,
Yeah.
if you haven't looked at the Bucks roster this season, it is as stale as rice. There's nothing to it. And I remember the Damian Lillard trade happened, I don't know, a few years back, if not 2 years back. There was an account on Twitter, and against NBA Twitter, there's a lot of weird characters, but there's a specific account that had zodiac signs and would base people's chemistry off zodiacs, and said that Damian Lillard's official like sun, rising moon. Again, I don't believe any of this stuff, but I'm starting to believe it the way he put it. He said because of his sign, the team would have meshed well. They would just be going through with talent. And it's looking already like that. It looks like this team is just trying to go through with talent. Damian Lillard putting up 30 points a game and still no product of a win. at all for Milwaukee, as well as Giannis Antetokounmpo sitting out from today. I believe it's a day-to-day injury or something like that, something minor. But either way, though, the issues in Milwaukee are getting worse. And if it continues to get to a point where, I mean, you might not even think about playoffs, and again, crazy as it may sound, he might be gone by this summer, in my opinion.
He might be gone by February, bro.
Really?
I have a
Midway?
feeling, bro. I feel a feeling. I have a sneaky suspicion that something's gonna happen. It's gonna be big. Because I feel like he's not gonna. I don't feel like he's in the mood to deal with like going through half of the season, losing, and then just go into another losing team, right?
Yeah, but I mean, like, what team would he go? Because again, he's rumored to go Brooklyn and Miami, and that's not. I mean, you're not fighting for a championship automatically on those rosters, though. Unless he starts recruiting now, that would make sense.
I mean, with this is just conspiracy theory.
Yeah.
Tonight the Heat lose, but Jaime Jaquez was said for supposedly illness or something, stomach virus or I don't know what it was.
Yeah, stomach. Yep.
And Giannis didn't play today. I'm not making anything, bro, but I'm just saying.
I don't know
if you were to include anybody in a trade, Hyman would be one of them.
Look, I'm a sicko for basketball, but that is a sicko trade scenario. Jaquez, and I guess you would put down a Duncan Robinson or Tyler Hero factor, but Jonka, this is actually something I had in mind. Now, again, big small market guy. Love my small market teams. One of them being in the state of Louisiana, nearly underwater, New Orleans. New Orleans right now is in a situation where they want to move with Zion Williamson. However, the understanding is Brandon Ingram. No, but here's the catch. Brandon Ingram, I don't know if they're going to have a spot for him. I'm thinking if the Bucks wanted to do it, go out of their way, get Brandon Ingram, an already proven guy that can be an all-star on the floor. Make that trade. If you want to add in Herb Jones, get yourself Jones in there, a draft pick. It's a lot defensively. It'll be big. But I'll tell you what, though, Zion and Giannis. That'll be a crazy front court. And again, that's if Giannis would be even available to play the 5 or the 4 like that with Zion Williamson. But hey, I mean, that could be an option. Sacramento could be another option. And again, these are just options. These aren't mentioned in the rumors at all. But if he was to be moved out west, and again, we've seen teams just do that just because out of spite. If he was to move out to the other conference, I mean, it would change a lot of what we see with OKC, Timberwolves. It'll be a lot.
I hinted at this. I don't know if it was earlier in the show or before we started. The Warriors are having some sort of drama with Jonathan Kuminga. And he's an upcoming star. He does really good. I could see a possible trade. We already know Giannis and Steph love to play with each other. We've seen it. They've hinted at it, but people were saying, "Oh no, it's just playing around." Listen, why? If I'm the Milwaukee Bucks, logically, I'm not gonna send Giannis to anybody in the Eastern Conference so he can come and just beat us. Like, if I'm gonna send him anywhere, it's gonna be the Western Conference and let him play. What better team that wants to win than the Golden State Warriors? And they have a guy who's young, who hasn't had an extension yet because he's in the extension talks, wants his money, wants to prove himself, and maybe you throw in an extra guy or two, and you get maybe some picks, and you get Giannis. You get Steph and Giannis, and then all the other young guys that you have, and you got Buddy Hield that's balling out right now like a stud.
Yeah, bro. And also, I mean, not even to mention, like, Andrew Wiggins is still on that roster. Hell, they can use Andrew Wiggins. Yeah, you would throw, and I was about to say the exact same thing. You throw Andrew Wiggins in and make that the focal point of that trade. But again, the Milwaukee Bucks, not at all at a good spot early on this year. And already trade rumors with their all-star. But Jonka, let's go. The last 5 minutes, we'll use this on our last topic of the night. MLS playoffs going on right now. It's
Yes,
been
sir.
really exciting stuff, though. We've seen a lot of bangers, shootouts so far. But let's just go through bracket to bracket here. I'm going to start with the Western Conference real quick. Speed round here, right? 5 minutes left. Wild card. Vancouver over Portland, 5-0 in that one. And somehow, some way, they are still alive. The Vancouver team out there. I forgot the full name. My apologies on that. I think Whitecaps, or is that
I
Toronto?
think
Either
so.
way, yeah, Whitecaps. There we go. Vancouver Whitecaps. They are somehow in a do or die match against LAFC, which will be played on the 8th of this month. And in the same way, it'll be like that for a lot of teams in the East. But the Western Conference not really dealing with at all a third game. Seattle through 2 games against Houston is just waiting for the winner of that LAFC and Vancouver one in the semifinals. And the other match from the Western semifinals, Minnesota against LA Galaxy. Galaxy beating out Colorado and Minnesota beating out Salt Lake City. Then out to the Eastern Conference. And this is where we'll get really interesting here. The Red Bull, the Red Bull New York club, they end up going through 2 against Columbus, and Columbus
The
Crew,
reigning champ.
yep, they no longer defending champs. Right now, Red Bull is just waiting on Cincinnati and New York. New York is right now in a spot where they could upset Cincinnati. They did it in game 2. They defeated Cincinnati 3-1. Their last game, third game, 11-9. So that'll be the 9th of this month. And speaking of which, the 9th of this month would also include the Orlando Charlotte game 3 of that series. And this is the interesting one, Jonka. Here in our own backyard in Fort Lauderdale, Inter Miami
Yep.
having to go up against Atlanta United, beat out Montreal in the wild card round, and somehow, some way, they're still alive. Inter Miami 2-1 on the road in Atlanta. 101 going to the 90th minute, 95th minute, 2-1 Atlanta. They save themselves, and now there is going to be a third game in Fort Lauderdale, aka South Florida, on the 9th of this month. Jonka, last 3 minutes.
I
It's
I
I mean,
saw that goal, bro, against us,
mhm.
and I was just like, I was in awe because it was a really nice goal. You can't hate on it, but I I would be really like absolutely disappointed if we lost on Saturday,
Yeah.
and I don't think it's gonna happen because I think Messi's gonna have the team ready to go, and they're gonna handle their business, and then we would have to play Charlotte or Orlando. I would love to play Orlando
Oh, that'll
and
be a
beat
huge one right
and
there.
beat Orlando's ass. Me being a former Orlando fan because there was no team for Miami at the time. So,
True.
but that's people change. It's my God. Let me talk about this, bro. The Red Bulls upsetting Columbus is an absolute shock to me.
It is a shock. And we talked about it throughout other episodes where like anything can happen in these playoffs, especially with this format where it's not as weird as it may sound. It's not a do or die in the first round, kind of odd.
Hmm.
But shoot, I mean, even a best out of 3, like we see in the WNBA, it gives anyone chances.
Daniel doesn't like the best of three to start the playoffs, but I told him, hey, bro, remember, it's the MLS is not just an entertainment. It's a business.
Yep.
So whatever they can do to milk whatever money they can out of you, they're gonna do it. Like I wouldn't be surprised if the second round next season or 2 years from now is the same thing, best of three, and then the semifinals, conference final, and then the MLS final would be elimination.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised because money rules the world at this point.
Mm-hmm.
I think Miami goes on. They go on to beat. I think it's going to be Orlando. They have more experience, and then uh, I think Cincinnati. They have the better team. Then they go on and they beat New York City, and then it's and then it's Cincinnati versus Red Bulls. Um, That team that's actually I'm gonna take the Red Bulls on this one.
Okay.
I think it's gonna be another upset. I think Red Bulls are gonna be that sleeper team.
So you think a Lewis Morgan conference finals against?
And then it's gonna be Miami versus beating Orlando, and then going on to play New York Red Bulls, and then Miami. I think Miami beats them. Like it's gonna be tough for them. Like I think that the Cinderella story ends there,
Mm-hmm.
and Miami goes on to the MLS Cup. Let me see here. LAFC in Vancouver. They go on. They play on Friday. So I got LAFC there. They're the better team. They were going to play Seattle. That is going to be a really good game. I'm definitely going to be watching that. Let me see. Minnesota versus LA Galaxy. I'm taking LA Galaxy there. They're having a really good season.
Yep.
Man, damn. Do I take LAFC or do I take LA Galaxy? I think that rivalry would be crazy for a conference final.
It would be another playoff, right? Hey, you know what I think for the final? I'm thinking Galaxy versus Inter Miami. That's what I'm really thinking about.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be a Florida versus California battle,
Mm-hmm.
and it's gonna be a crazy game. I think everybody in Miami is gonna be on the TV watching that, or technically Apple TV, and I'm gonna have to stick with my team. Inter Miami wins 3-1 in the MLS Cup, and
There
Inter
we go.
Miami are MLS Cup champions. I think 3 or 4 years into their organization, and we all celebrate on Cayocho.
Cayocho, Bird Road, Sawgrass.
Everything.
We'll figure it out. Commercial Boulevard for Inter Miami right outside the
Yeah,
house.
true, true.
But I'm telling you right now, though, it'll be a long road. We'll keep you updated, of course, with our coverage with Plug Talk Sports and our main socials. But that's all the time we have on this episode. Thank you again for joining into our episode this evening. And don't forget, though, if you haven't, turn back those clocks. Don't forget to check out our socials, Plug Talk Sports on Twitter, social media, such as Instagram, Twitch. And Jonka, as you always say, when we say goodbye,
Support the troops.